At this year's upcoming VCF East, which is, oh god, it's next week. One of the computers that I want to show off is this modded and upgraded 20th anniversary Macintosh. And I thought it would be pretty interesting if we had it set up running the fabled BeOS. So today, join me as we discover just what can you actually do with one of the 90s most obscure third-party operating systems running on one of the 90s most obscure computers. I don't know, but it's going to be fun to find out, so stay tuned. And if you enjoy exploring the past through the lens of weird, failed tech products and software, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. So this is our 20th anniversary Macintosh, a limited edition and very short-lived Mac from 1997. Originally released for the equivalent of over $12,000 and delivered to your home in a limousine, it was never meant to sell that many units. And even by that standard, it's generally regarded as a flop. And there's the whole story of Steve Jobs being gifted one and hating it so much he literally threw it in the garbage. But we've shown this rare misfit Mac a lot of love on this channel. And being that it's basically built from a mishmash of parts from other 90s Apple desktops and laptops, we not only restored it to full working order, using mostly parts we had just laying around, but we also upgraded the absolute heck out of it with a G4 processor, 128 megs of RAM, a bootable PCI SATA controller card, and of course we reclothed the speakers here with black speaker fabric, much like the original prototypes had. If you want to get caught up on the journey that was this TAM, check out these videos here. But today, we're going to focus on software. Weird software. At one point, we actually had this thing triple booting classic macOS, Linux, and BeOS. Now, if you're not familiar with BeOS, it was an obscure 90s operating system for PowerPC and later Intel that was almost the basis for macOS 10, which eventually was based on Next, another Steve Jobs company. Now, BeOS was only released for a very specific subset of Macintosh models, but by virtue of this TAM being a mashup of various Macs, it actually does run on here after some coaxing. So at this year's VCF East, where for a third year running, I'm sharing a table showcase with Steve from Mac84 and Mike from Mike's Mac Shack, now known as Mike's Mess. And I want to bring this TAM to show off, running BeOS, because that would be weird. And I like weird. Weird is good. So let's get weird. Right after this word about today's sponsor, PCBWay. Not only does PCBWay offer high-quality PCB prototyping and production, they also offer on-site PCB assembly, and they can even source some of the components with their turnkey service. But I bet your project needs more than just PCBs. Well, PCBWay now offers a ton of additional services. High-quality 3D printing, injection molding, CNC machining. They even offer sheet metal fabrication. Literally every part of your next project can be prototyped and built with PCBWay. So if you have any PCB or prototyping needs, I hope you give PCBWay.com a try. So the last time we got BeOS running on this thing, the miracle was really just getting it going. We didn't really spend a whole lot of time messing around with it or installing software or seeing what it could do. It was just a miracle that it ran. Well, on the Internet Archive, there are actually a couple repositories of BeOS software, including some that has PowerPC stuff, which actually, there's not a ton of PowerPC software out there. Most of what I found is Intel based. So my dream would actually be to get at least Doom running on here and maybe see what other kinds of software and especially games we can find so we can set this up for a nice interactive presentation and demonstration so, people can actually use it. So I think what I want to do is a fresh install of BeOS on a dedicated drive on IDE. Unfortunately, I don't have any more of those cool DOS Dude 1 IDE SSDs, which we covered in this video here. maybe I can pick some up at VCF because DOS Dude 1 is going to be there. Alright, well, for some reason the TAM just did not seem to like to boot with this mSATA SSD adapter installed, which is weird because I could have sworn that I've used this in there before and I used this adapter in everything, but then I remembered I still have this native IDE SSD left over from when I was comparing it to the DOS Dude version. So what I've done is connected both the IDE SSD and the TAM's original SATA SSD. When I say original, I mean the one we did last time. That's connected to the SATA PCI controller card. And yeah, I'm going to copy over everything from this drive onto the IDE SSD because we actually need a partition with macOS 9 to boot BeOS. I'll show you that in a second. The other thing I did was I found this very nice 3D printable bracket on Thingiverse made for the TAM so we can mount an SSD and a fan. What I'm going to do is open up this drive because it doesn't need this case and there is a nice PCB inside that can be exposed to the airflow of the case. And I'm going to mount that here and yeah, install this. All right, that's in there pretty good. So here it is attached with the hard drive mounted, and I gotta say, that looks clean. Now, the only thing is I don't have a fan that'll quite fit here. I need like a 60 by 10 fan because otherwise it sticks up too much for the card installed here. So for now, that's okay. Let's boot it up and get everything set up and get that fresh install of BeOS on here. As is tradition, I'll be using janky original install media. Oh, and speaking of janky, I also need this. Yeah, we actually need to do the install with an external monitor connected to the vestigial monitor out port on the motherboard here. All right, well, two things. One, I forgot how finicky it is to install BeOS, and yeah, I had to bust out the external CD-ROM drive to get it working. And two, for some reason, it worked on the TAM's display without me having to fiddle with it like last time. So I guess I didn't need this external display. That's pretty weird. Anyway, let's install some software. And I'm going to be getting this software from the Internet Archive, which has a BeOS collection, which I'll link down in the description. And I'm hoping to at least find some games that are going to work. I'm pretty sure that at least Doom for PowerPC is in there. All right, so in an effort to get things over quickly and easily, I just burned a bunch of what looked like PowerPC games to a CDR. And yeah, let's see if the BeOS can read it. Boy, did I ever forget how finicky BeOS is. Tried loading software over USB that works in classic Mac OS. No go here, I think BeOS needs to be patched for that. Tried using the COM/2 Ethernet card that the TAM uses. Nope, BeOS doesn't like that apparently. SATA card that shows everything as SCSI devices. Nope, B doesn't like that. Another PCI networking card. You guessed it, B doesn't like that. B! But what does work, and what always works, good old-fashioned zip disks. That's right, the ultimate cross-platform tool. I mean, I'm the ultimate cross-platform tool, but zip disks, close second. I should cut that joke out. That was pretty bad. Anyway, I have a SCSI zip drive attached to the TAM, USB zip drive attached to my modern MacBook Pro, and just for fun, I have my G4 Pismo here with a VST zip drive, but turns out I didn't need that because the USB zip drive on the MacBook Pro worked just fine. Now, mounting the zip drive is a little bit not intuitive. You actually have to go into Drive Setup, find the zip drive in here, and then mount it, which I've done. But once I did, check it out. Here's some stuff. So I know that Doom is the PowerPC version, and this is the most recent version, which should be fully working, full screen and everything. And then I also got Hexen and Heretic, which I think are for PowerPC, but we'll find out. But I think this is a good starting point. Let's see if I can just straight up install. Nope, don't register via the internet. Apologies if that was out of focus right there. This is the Wildcard Design Inc. version of Doom 1.91 for BeOS from May 15th, 1998. And the installer is working just fine right off the zip drive. Oh, it's working. Oh. Yes! With audio! Oh my god. Oh, this is the culmination of quite a while of tinkering. Come on, full screen. Full screen doesn't work. Uh-oh. It's playing in the background, but I can't click on anything. Alright, no full screen. Just had to do a hard reset there. Alright, let's create a desktop link so it's easy to find during VCF. Yeah, there it is, Doom PPC. Oh, and I took that zip disk out so it stopped making all that horrible noise. Alright. Oh, come on. Let me drag it. Let's try this again. Oh man, none of the TAM's front panel buttons work in BeOS because they're all software controlled. Alright, well, double-sized screen works pretty well. Let's play some Doom. Oh yeah! Alright, it's quite dark and there doesn't really seem to be a way to increase the brightness. It's not too bad in person, although using this keyboard is not very good because it has the stupid arrow keys in a line. And I also don't see a way to change the control scheme. Anyway, it'll be fun to watch people struggle with this at VCF. Oh crap, it's so dark, I didn't even see him. Alright, so I've copied over and extracted Hexen and Heretic. Hexen.bos. Could not find an application to open Hexen.bos. Alright, readme.txt. This is the background of the game, like from the box. Okay, that doesn't seem to work. Heretic. Alright, that looks more like an application. Nope. Could not find an application to open Heretic. I mean, I assume it just doesn't know that it's an application. Alright, I put a couple more games on here. First off, Descent. Is this really Descent? There doesn't actually seem to be an application in there. Alright, I also got Super Tux. This is just the source code, I guess. Alright, well I guess to play Super Tux we'd have to compile it. Which is, something for a later day, I guess. I'm not doing that right now. Okay, well, what I'm most interested in actually is a little silly. there is a single Game Boy emulator, which is only available for download on one site, Pulco Mandy's site. It is literally nowhere else on the internet, so thank you, Pulco Mandy, for archiving this. Oh no, it doesn't want to work. Son of a gun. Alright, I forgot what a joy getting BeOS up and running on PowerPC Max is, especially on this TAM here, which of course is unsupported hardware, so I can't get too frustrated or upset with it. And in the end, it does work, and it's booted, it's running with sound, no networking, but yeah, it seems pretty good. And we have Doom running, which means we have a display for VCF East. I mean, it would be a little silly if this was just running with no fun software or games on it, wouldn't it? And a quick correction from earlier, I think I said that you need macOS 9 as the bootstrap partition to boot into BeOS. That's actually very far from the truth. macOS 9 won't work with the BeOS launcher. macOS 9 won't work with the BeOS 9 launcher extension. It just hangs and gives you absolutely no feedback on why it's not working. Instead, you need some version of macOS 8. So I have that partition now booting macOS 8.5, and that boots into BeOS just fine. Now, I'm not done getting this thing set up for VCF East, which, again, is about a week away. I'm going to tinker with it a little bit more, see if I can optimize it a little bit more, and see if I can't get 1 or 2 more games running. I did download a few more that I haven't tried yet, but I think I'm going to save that for a bonus video, which I've started putting up on Patreon. But that'll do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more shenanigans like this, please subscribe down below. And if you're on the East Coast, I hope I'll see you next week at VCF East. Thank you very much for watching. And a special thanks to Alex Hoffman, Camilo Noseda, Chris Allegretta, Chris Biggs, Chris Calderon, Chris Nelson, Control-Alt-Reese, Daniel Hubbard, Greg Hrutke, Jason Pepez, Justin Hemmings, Justin Reed, Lyle Truid, Michael Mulhern, Paul Spencer, Ryan, Scott Thompson, Sutek, Tom Woodfin, and Unknown Soldier 41, who are my highest tiered patrons and all of my Patreon supporters for helping to make these videos possible.